the dog!
I just watched Superman 2025, where Jor-El becomes Space Muhammad. Superman 2025 is a 4 out of 10. This was a terrible movie. I compare this to basically Superman 3, where there are shining moments in the film that are actually good. Good moments in the film that are overshadowed by just utter dog shit, dude. Like, this movie is a mess. A mess. We're going to say a lot of spoilers in this video, so if you don't want to be spoiled, I would recommend clicking off, but it's not a great film, so if you don't care about being spoiled over a bad movie, by all means, feel free to stay. Let's start off with the plot, because the plot is the only part that seems like it could have been well executed if they did it right, which they absolutely did not. So this plot is essentially the nation of Baravia, one of the fictional Eastern European nations in DC Comics lore, wants to invade a nation which I can't remember the name of, but it's basically like if Russia invaded India. That's essentially what the plot is here. Or more closely, Russia invading Ukraine. There's a lot of Russia-Ukraine allegory here, where essentially this leader of this country, who looks like a mix between Putin and Klaus Schwab, right? This guy's repulsive to look at. Essentially invades this country, and Superman shows up and puts a stop to it, and everybody goes home. Come to find out, however, that Lex Luthor is behind all of this. He orchestrated this war, and Lex Luthor's ultimate plan is to totally create a world so chaotic that the entire world will blame all the faults of the world on Superman, and they will say that they want him hunted down, because Lex Luthor is an anti-alien bigot. So his entire reason for hating Superman is because he believes in the greater good of humanity, and he wants to save the world from the alien Superman. And so he orchestrates a world so chaotic that he would have a justified excuse to hunt down and kill Superman. That was the intention here. So, that sounds cool. And I gotta say, Nicholas Hoult is the best part of this movie by far. Lex Luthor is the only good thing in this movie, really. Everybody else, man, it's rough. So the plot sounds cool. It's just that the execution is absolute piss poor, okay? This is like the most slapstick comedy. It's so cheesy. This movie feels so campy and so dated. I swear, this feels like it was made in the early 70s, where like society was so confused and movies were getting really experimental, very strange filmmaking. That's kind of what this feels like here, where I don't know what the tone was supposed to be, because Guardians of the Galaxy, the tone of that at least was consistent, right? Here, it just, I don't know. It's so strange. It's just the strangest movie I have ever watched, okay? Like I said, it's like Superman 3, where the tone is so strange. But yeah, besides the tone, the characters, they don't let the characters get to be characters. The characters feel like caricatures. Superman only gets to really be Superman, I'd say maybe 5 minutes of this actual movie, right? You don't really get to see him be Superman. All the other times he is Superman, a joke is happening, he's getting his ass kicked, and he's not looking strong and powerful and stuff like that. We don't really feel like he is our guy, our hero, humanity's hope, right? The way that we're supposed to. But the worst, and I mean the worst, character assassinations of this film by far were Lois Lane and Jor-El. Lois Lane, she basically starts off not even really liking Clark. They're in a relationship, which is kind of more of like a situationship, and she's not really committed to him. She learns to love him over time, and then she ends up growing on me by the end, but she starts out kinda insufferable, not gonna lie. But Jor-El, oh my goodness, they basically turned Jor-El into Space Muhammad. Alright, and here's the reason why. You know how Jor-El was always the voice of reason on Krypton, the sole hope for that doomed planet, who sent his son to Earth to become like the savior to mankind? You know how like Superman's coming to Earth is kind of a messianic allegory, right? Where he's kind of Christ-like.
I have sent them you, my only son.
Well, imagine that, except Muhammad's message, where Jor-El literally tells Superman in the Fortress of Solitude, him and his wife both agreed on this, by the way. Laura-El and Jor-El both told Clark, "You have come to Earth, Kal-El, to rule the people of Earth, to pillage, to become a king, and to take multiple Earth women as your harems, like Muhammad did before you." They said all that except for the Muhammad part, of course. But basically, yeah, Jor-El becomes Space Muhammad. Like, what are we doing? They turned Jor-El into Zod. This is something that Zod would say, not Jor-El. This would have made so much more sense had Zod been the one to deliver such news. Kneel before Zod! But essentially, it is Lex Luthor who broke into the Fortress of Solitude and discovered the truth about Superman's parents, right? Because Superman did not know that Jor-El told him to become a tyrant on Earth. He didn't know that. Because what happened was when Clark crashed on Earth, the message that his parents left in the ship, it only contained half the message, where the first half of the message sounds positive, and for his entire life, that is what Kal-El grew up believing, that his parents wanted him to be a protector to Earth. So he believed a false lie that his parents sold to him, and he became a hero because of this false lie. Only when Lex Luthor broke into the fortress, he then deciphered the full message and realized that his dad was actually basically Zod. That he is now a tyrant and a sadist, and nothing like how he's supposed to be in the comics. This is the worst character assassination I think we have seen since Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. This was terrible. This was awful. And it seriously brought down the movie a lot. Way more than the humor and slapstick comedy of this movie already did, okay? The action sequences. There's a lot of really cool action sequences. Actually, some of this fight choreography was epic. I gotta give it to the CGI animators. Some of the CGI fight scenes, it's hard to make CGI fight scenes look cool. They actually made the fight scenes look really cool. The only problem is there's no substance behind any of them. It's all style, no substance. There is so many action sequences in this movie, to the point that the plot doesn't really even get a chance to develop. Like, you don't, like, the pacing of the film feels strange because of how much action this is. And essentially, it feels like a theme park ride. You ever ridden that Jurassic Park ride at Universal Studios? This is basically this movie 24/7. It's an adrenaline junkie fest where it's like Fast and Furious, just dumb fun action, no real plot behind it. Okay? Like I said, the plot, the actual story itself sounds interesting. In a much better film, this could have been so much better executed. It could have been a really cool plot. They wasted it, unfortunately. This was a mess of a film. This is not a good film. I don't think you guys should see this. This movie needs $1 billion. $1 billion to break even, because they spent $500 to $600 million on marketing and production alone. So there's no way this movie can turn a profit. If it's lucky, it'll make $600 million. And even then, that's actually pushing it, because the word of mouth is going to be so piss poor for this movie. I have no idea how it's going to do. But I know if you're a normie, if you don't care about plot, you don't care about characterization, if you don't care about good filmmaking, you'll probably enjoy this movie. Like I said, the Fast and Furious moviegoers will probably like this movie. People that actually appreciate really good stories, they're going to hate this. This is Superman made for the lowest common denominator. If you want a real modern Superman story, go watch Superman and Lois. They did this story 10 times better than this movie. Hell, even Man of Steel is better than this movie in terms of handling the idea of a Superman that is hated by mankind, okay? All of it could have been done so much better, and I'm thinking to myself, how in the world is Batman supposed to fit into this universe? It does not work at all. There's no way that Batman could possibly fit into this cheesy, campy, 70s-style tone of filmmaking unless you made him like Adam West, and I'm afraid they will actually do that. They might as well put him in an all-blue suit at this point. But anyway, guys, that was the video. If you like this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. I will see you guys in the next one.
Where's the dog?